Now, Richard just popped off a Face of Music panel based on basically the next 12 months. How hard is it to predict these things at the moment when everything's moving so quickly?
Look, pretty much in my office every week, all we do is talk about what's going on and how people are behaving, what people want. So it's an every week of the year thing. So the business side of things changes, but the way people act and listen to music, all that stuff, it's super exciting for me. Like there's all the stuff that we're involved with is feels really good at the moment, and feels like there's tons of bands that we like and respect that are getting big and getting to the point where we can book them. And every show I've booked in the last year or two, there's so many options for every spot on the bill. It's kind of humbling, and I spend most of my time apologising to bands that I can't book them when they've kind of fulfilled the criteria that they would have needed to get on the show 3-5 years ago. I still don't have enough spots, so yeah, it's really, really great time at the moment, and there's nothing that's changing that's for the worse.
Yeah, you're involved with so many venues and so many festivals that have had really good runs in the last few years. Are you booking a year in ahead at the moment for some of the bigger festivals?
I'm generally advising people I work for to book later because bands break so quickly, and I'll give you an example. So, Falls is already booked for this coming cycle, as is Laneway. But in the last month, I've had acts sell out shows at the venues I do now, like in October and November, that we didn't even consider to book. And I can tell you for a fact that if they were playing at Laneway or Falls, they would have massive audiences. These are people like the Kite String Tangle and Dustin Tebbit, right? And they're the right genre to be on Laneway or Falls or Meredith or whatever, but they got famous in November, therefore they're not relevant for a show that's in December or February. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Is there any way to buck that trend?
Well, just book later. You just have to not announce your whole lineup so far in advance, and you have to not announce your entire lineup. So generally my mantra is, if you have to go early, then just put half the lineup out and then put the rest at the last possible moment that you can. So I'm hoping I can convince people I work for to do it that way, where they save up spots for the bands that people want to see when the show is on, not when the tickets go on sale.
Yeah. And are you finding promoters are being fairly responsive to that sort of idea? Or are they still a little bit scared of then missing out on people?
Yeah. When you say promoters, the people I work for?
Yeah, or your experience.
Tends to be people they're locked into certain announced timeframes and they think there's a reason for it. But I would argue a lot of the festivals that haven't sold as well this year, it is because they're announcing too early. Like, I don't know anybody that knows what they want to do 6 months in advance, 4 months in advance. It's kind of absurd, It's like when you announce a summer festival in the middle of winter and it's freezing, are people really kind of going, well, what am I going to be doing in late January or December? It's kind of silly, So, there's a couple of reasons why people want to announce so early, but, I don't think it's necessarily the best thing. So hopefully people will change their mind and chill out a bit. So I think there's so many bands to book that are all good and worthy and relevant and have a good profile now that at some point people will just acknowledge that, and the options that they're looking at to book will become a lot wider.
Yeah. I think you sort of briefly touched on it in the panel where you rattled off about 10 names of acts that are coming up, and you could keep going all day.
All day, yeah.
Does that make your job easier or harder?
This year, the last calendar year, I had 26 different bands sell out multiple nights at the corner, more than one night, more than 1,000 tickets. And on like the National Falls Festival that we work on, there's only 14 bands that tour nationally. Right, so it's back to that same thing. Like if in days gone by, if you sold out 2 nights at the corner, you would be guaranteed to get on Falls Festival if you wanted. Now it's physically not possible unless we change the structure of how the show works. But at this point, for Falls, we booked 24 internationals, 14 Australian bands, 38 bands that tour nationally each year and play 4 festivals. And there's more number of spots than that are selling out the corner. So, it's as I say, it's like that part of it's getting easier, and I'm hoping to redress the balance of Australian acts to international acts on things that I'm involved with, and I hope to have success in that because I always like booking bands that people want to see and that people like, rather than bands that we think are cool, or or the media thinks are cool. Like I'm a real old-fashioned. I like booking bands that people are fans of, that they're excited about, and if all those bands happen to come from Australia, then the whole lineup should be Australian.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I appreciate your time, and I know there's another panel coming on very soon, so I'll let you get back to it.
All right, thanks.
Cheers.
Pondflower.com